Hi, my name's Tony Whelan and I'm the owner of this beautiful i8, which is a plug-in hybrid car and very unique in the BMW range.
So Tony, tell me a little bit about your car.
Well, I've owned the car for about 2.5 years now, and but it was brought out by the BMW range from 2014 through to 2020, and at this stage they've stopped making production of them, but they haven't replaced it with anything at this point in time. As you can see by the shape of it, it's very unique and very aerodynamic, and the actual body of the car is made totally of carbon fibre, so it's very light in the body, but there's a little bit of weight being put back in by the batteries. It's a plug-in hybrid, as I said, so consequently it has a petrol motor that drives the back wheels as well as charges the battery, and has an electric motor that drives the front wheels.
So Tony, can you show me where they located the battery?
Yeah,
or
the battery's located inside along the centre console. So it's a little bit different in most electric only cars have their batteries under the floor, whereas this one you are sitting a lot lower, and the batteries are located down the centre console. And at this stage the petrol motor, which is underneath the boot here. Unfortunately, you can't really get into it without a lot of unscrewing screwdrivers, but it's located underneath there.
Okay, so the battery's in there and it runs along through the centre console.
That's right.
Okay.
So the petrol motor is only a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder motor. So it's coming out of the mini range, and as I said, it drives the back wheels as well as charges the battery, and the electric motor in the front drives the front wheels. So with both motors running, you've got 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and but predominantly rear-wheel drive with just the petrol motor running.
Okay. So what sort of 0 to 60 is this?
You get around between, it's rated at 4.4 seconds. So
okay.
It's not super car fast, but it's certainly plenty quick enough for Australian roads. And it handles very well because all the weight is down low and through that centre console. So it goes around corners like it's on rails. The tyres and that aren't overly wide for a modern car. They're only 195 section width at the front and 225 at the back. So they've kept it very narrow to get better aerodynamics. And but they are still 20-inch diameter, so there's still a fairly wide diameter wheel, but fairly narrow in its profile.
So have you always been into BMWs, Tony?
Yes, pretty much so, since the mid-90s anyway. And it was when I bought my first 5 Series, and I've had 7 BMWs since then. Fairly fortunate, and I've still got 3 of them, and I've got this one. I've got an M Coupe, which is one of the original Z3 M Coupes, and a 750, which is very much an interstate touring type car. But it's a lovely car out in the country roads. Yeah.
So do you get to drive this one much, or?
A fair bit. I guess I'm using it as more or less my daily driver, especially if I'm just by myself or just got a partner with me, because it doesn't have a lot of storage space, and you could only really go away for a weekend trip. You couldn't, or you wouldn't really want to go for a big long trip. That's where I use the 7 Series.
Which is a little bit more comfortable, or is this?
Certainly a lot more comfortable. Each seat has heating, cooling, and massaging.
Oh, very
So
nice.
you get out on the open road and turn the massaging on, and by the time you get to Sydney, you're very relaxed.
Yeah. And so with this one, Tony, have you had to use the petrol at all, or you always you've got a plug in at home where you plug it in?
Yeah, I'll just plug it in at home. What I'm finding I'm doing is the electric only range is only about 30 kilometres. So constantly what I'm doing is I live at Anglesey, and so driving to Geelong, I've charged up, drive around Geelong on the electric only mode. Then I do the reverse going back to Anglesey, so then I drive around Anglesey for a couple of days on the electric only mode. But then what I find is if I'm not going anywhere, well then I'll plug it in and charge it up at home on the just a normal 240 volt 3-pin plug.
Okay, and how long does it take to charge the
It takes
battery?
about 5 hours to charge the battery from dead flat fully charged.
Okay. So Tony, what colours did the car come in?
When it was first released, there was just 4 colours available, which is the silver that we've got here. There was the blue, which is pretty much the blue stripe that's underneath the sill there. There's a white, which was more a iridescent white, or pearlescent white, and a colour called sophisticated grey, which is just about black. But they found that with the sophisticated grey ones, they seem to put like a chocolate brown colour interior, which I felt didn't suit the car that much. I prefer the lighter beige colour, and it took a while to actually find this colour combination that I was after. Yeah.
So did you buy this car new, Tony?
No, it was 6.5 years old when I bought it, but the previous owner only drove it for 15,000 kilometres, so it was like brand new when I bought it, and hardly run in, you might say.
So Tony, how do you get into the car?
Okay. You just reach in behind there and pull up on the door panel, and it's gas strut assisted, so and because they're all carbon fibre, they're very light, and you can see the carbon fibre reveal in the door jamb there. So it's a very light car, in that it's probably about 1,400 kilograms in total. But the tub itself is very light, but then there's weight gone back in by putting batteries into the car.
So Tony, what's the transmission and gear change? And
It has a 6-speed gearbox, automatic gearbox on the petrol motor, and a 2-speed gearbox on the electric motor. So how those two work together, I'm not sure, but there's somebody in there working all that out. But it does have paddle shifts for using manual operation as well, and otherwise it's all automatic. There is a sport mode for getting a bit more performance out of it, and there's also like an electric only mode to be fully economical.
so what's got more power, the electric or the petrol?
The petrol motor's got more power. It's rated at 170 kilowatts, and the electric motor's rated at 90 kilowatts. So between the two, you've got 260 kilowatts.
So Tony, what's actually under the front bonnet?
Well, the front bonnet you can't lift unless you're a BMW technician, but it has all the electrics and the electric motor, as well as an air duct that goes through, collects the air underneath the bumper bar, and then it exits out through the top here, and that goes through the radiator, so that way it's very streamlined, as you can see, and hot air goes over the top of the car, and more cold air comes in from underneath.
So Tony, how's the air get into the petrol motor?
It's a little bit different in this particular car compared to a normal mid-engine car. Most of those have a big duct to the side, but what this one does is there's a duct in underneath. So the air goes in underneath, gets into the motor for combustion, and then exits out the back.
So where's that exit out the back, Tony?
It's a bit hard to see here, but it would come out underneath from the side there.
So, how do you start it, Tony? And do you want to go for a drive?
Okay, I'll just show you.
It's a graceful entry in there.
It is. All you need to do is just push on the brake and press the stop button, and then you don't hear anything because the petrol motor doesn't cut in until you start going on the road. So when we move off, it'll be very quiet. So if I can just pull the door down,
Yep.